Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan's official channel, the home of royal truths, unspoken emotions, and stories that linger beyond the walls of power. Tonight, we unfold one of the most emotional chapters ever tied to his name. When Sheikh Hamdan finally faced his past, the truth hurts. What happens when a man who built empires of dreams is forced to confront the memories he buried deep within? When the weight of yesterday collides with the strength of today, even the strongest heart begins to tremble. It began with silence, the kind that doesn't come from peace, but from old wounds calling for attention. Sheikh Hamdan had spent years leading his nation, writing poetry that inspired millions, and smiling for a world that saw only his light. But behind the scenes, there were shadows, memories that refused to fade. The past wasn't gone, it was merely waiting for the right moment to be faced. And when that moment finally came, it didn't knock gently, it shattered through his calm like thunder in a quiet desert. The encounter was unplanned, unexpected, and deeply human. A single photograph found its way to him, a memory frozen in time, of someone he once knew better than himself. It wasn't just an image, it was a doorway to everything he tried to forget. The laughter, the promises, the heartbreak, all came rushing back in one overwhelming wave. He stared at the picture for a long time, realizing that time can heal many things, but not everything. Some moments are too deeply carved into the soul. For years, he had hidden behind duties, ceremonies, and responsibilities. The world saw his strength, but not the silent wars he fought within. Facing the past meant confronting the parts of himself he had locked away, the boy who loved fearlessly, the man who lost quietly, and the poet who wrote his pain into starlit verses. That night, for the first time in a long while, Sheikh Hamdan allowed himself to feel it all, every ounce of nostalgia, every fragment of regret. The truth hurt because it was beautiful once. His past wasn't a mistake, it was a masterpiece of innocence that ended too soon. He remembered her voice like a melody trapped in the wind, her eyes that once saw the man behind the prince. He realized how deeply he had buried those feelings beneath the golden weight of royalty. To face the past was to stand before a mirror that reflected not just who he became, but who he used to be, and who he might have been if life had turned differently. In the silence of his palace, Sheikh Hamdan walked through rooms that once held laughter, poems, and dreams. Each step echoed with what was lost. He had built so much since then: respect, legacy, global admiration, but some voids can't be filled with achievements. They require peace, and peace often comes only when truth is acknowledged. That night, he didn't seek forgiveness from others, he sought it from himself. He revisited the letters he once wrote, the poems he never published, the pictures he never shared. Each one carried traces of the man who dared to love without fear. It wasn't about regret, it was about acceptance. To face the past wasn't to reopen wounds, but to finally let them breathe. He had hidden his vulnerability behind poetry, but in truth, his words were always messages to the one he never forgot. "I'm not haunted by my past," he whispered once, "I'm shaped by it." The truth hurt not because it was painful, but because it reminded him of how much he once felt. The strength of his emotions back then frightened him now, because he realized how rare it is to love that deeply in a world that demands control. The realization brought tears, but also clarity. You can lose people, but you never lose the parts of yourself they awakened. She may have gone, but the lessons she left behind became the foundation of his poetry, his patience, his compassion. The moment of truth changed something within him. He stopped running from the past and started honoring it. The mistakes, the heartbreak, the lessons, all became a part of his story that no longer needed to be hidden. Facing the past gave him freedom. It allowed him to speak, to feel, to write without fear.
Even years later, when his poetry spoke of faith, patience, and divine love, the shadow of Hadia Zen lived quietly between the lines. She had become an element, like sand, moonlight, or wind, too sacred to name but too powerful to forget. Every poem was a coded message, every silence a continuation of their unfinished conversation. She wasn't gone, she was transformed into language itself. Some say true poets never stop loving, they just learn to write love differently. Sheikh Hamdan became that living truth. His kingdom might have belonged to him, but his heart belonged to the ink that once wrote her name. Hadia Zen had become both his beginning and his forever muse, a secret stitched into his soul. The poems no longer whispered her name aloud, but if you listened closely, through the rhythm, through the quiet between breaths, you could still hear it, soft, sacred, and unending. And perhaps that's the greatest kind of love there is, one that doesn't demand to be seen, only to be felt. Somewhere in the palace, a pen still rests by his window, waiting for the next verse. Somewhere in the desert wind, her name still moves unseen, dancing through the echoes of his words. His poems still whisper her name, not to the world, but to eternity. The poetry that flowed from him wasn't written about her, it was written because of her. Every time he picked up the pen, the air around him changed, as though the universe knew the muse had returned invisibly to watch him write again. In the golden glow of dawn, when Dubai awakens from its dreamlike slumber, one can almost hear Fazza's verses lingering in the air. They flow through the city's heartbeat, from the quiet alleys of old Dubai to the shining heights of the Burj Khalifa. His whispers become the city's song, a melody of pride, love, and endless vision. In his quieter verses, Fazza often reveals the ache of separation, the longing for connection that even a prince cannot escape. His poems are full of faces unseen and stories untold, of nights spent under the moonlight wondering where love has gone. Yet even in his sorrow, there is beauty, because Fazza never writes to despair, but to inspire. His pain becomes poetry, his silence becomes song, and his solitude becomes strength. As dawn rose over Dubai, Sheikh Hamdan stood by the balcony, watching the city awaken. The skyline shimmered in gold, and he realized how time moves forward even when hearts hesitate. He whispered a silent thank you, to his past, to his pain, and to the woman who once made him believe in forever. The truth hurt,